Hello, hello, and welcome to Marie and Awe podcast. It is episode number 6. Here we go. We're going to start every episode with our Activate Awe practice. So please join me. And we're going to say, Soul, activate awe. Body, activate awe. Heart, activate awe. Mind, activate awe. Thank you. So I really like to just share a deep breath after saying each activation and just let that energy sink into me, whether it's my soul or in my body or in my heart or in my mind. So thank you for joining me. Today I wanted to talk about, what do I want to talk about? An aha moment that I've had, which happens all the time, right? And so this podcast is usually a sharing of them from the past week. And so one of the things that is really apparent to me is that there's a lot of social awkwardness and uncomfortability and unknowingness in the world right now. I think a lot of it has to do with the COVID times, our isolation, our disconnect from each other. Our 6 feet of social distancing was more than just physical, right? It was emotional. It was intellectual. It was like heart distancing. And so when I started coaching again at the beginning of this year, one of the things that I mentioned is that from 2008 to 2011, I was a social coach, and I kept getting intrigue and interest around that more than anything else from my past. And eyes would widen, like, what's that? Like, tell me more about that. Like, I want that. And a part of me is like, well, I'm not offering that right now, but that's good to know. And so it has in some way, shape, or form, like infiltrated into my coaching sessions, right? So I'm kind of focused right now on those people, the people who have like made it on paper, right? Like good job, like good amount of income, like feeling spacious, like maybe have had purchased a home, but just generally what we were told we were supposed to achieve by a certain time in our life. Yet they're asking themselves, like, is this it? Right. So there's kind of like a little bit of this hollowness. And what I notice is that people are usually then reflecting on their internal relationships and their external relationships, whether it's personal or professional. And that that's what I used to do as a social coach, right? So I lived in the Bay Area, and basically I was helping people who really flex their muscles in other areas of their life, right? Until they reached a moment where they're like, holy shit, I don't know really how to communicate or show up as myself in the world. How do I show up in this awkwardness, this like quirkiness, this like uncomfortableness without feeling so heavily judged, right? And how do I look past the judgment or past the uncomfortableness or past the awkwardness into this land of connection? And that takes patience and dedication and just skill building. And so I would help people in personal situations. So it would be like, in talking to something as simple as talking to like the coffee barista, right? Or it could be more intimate in terms of like you find someone attractive while you're out. Like, how do you go up to them and talk to them? This is a time where the movie Hitch came out. And so people are like, oh my gosh, are you like the Hitch? And I was like, no, I'm not into the pickup artistry type of thing. This is about real authentic connection and not using lines to reel people in that era. Pickup artists were all the rage, and you could feel that energy in the Bay Area. And it was a little bit comical because it was very exaggerated and just a little bit aggressive. But anyways, and then and it would also be about in the personal sphere of deepening friendships and creating community. And what does community even mean to you? And then in the social coaching, in the professional domain, what I ended up attracting were engineers or visionary leaders, entrepreneurs for sure. They were so powerful in their ideas and what they wanted to see in the world. And then they realize in order to create, you need to have people you can communicate with about their creations, about their visions, so as to co-create and bring this baby into the world, right? And so it was, how do I present myself, my essence, my spirit in the personal and professional spheres? So that's what I did for about 4 years. And then I had my daughter and I focused on being a mom for a while. And then I went into coaching facilitation and learning experience design. And I worked with like world's best neuroscientists and social psychologists and took their research and translated it into interactive experiences, focusing on pro-social behavior. So all under the umbrella of socialization, right? And what I'm realizing now is I have been socially uncomfortable and awkward as fuck these past couple of years, along with a lot of y'all. And it feels like nitty gritty, right? It feels like, how do I move past this awkwardness and like, holy poop, like, is everyone staring at me, judging me? And so I also had moved to Austin at that time. And so I think I felt it amplified as well. And as I'm moving through this energy of social atrophy, right? I am repracticing a lot of the skills that I taught people and coached people through and helped people practice and exercise and embody in their real life. I'm starting to do that, right, this past year or so. And I'm realizing more and more that this is what people are talking about when they perk up and they hear social coaching. And so my aha moment is like, this sounds like this is in the ethers, that this is something that is exciting to folks. How do I connect with people one-on-one? How do I make space for dialoguing versus monologuing? How do I create the wider web of community, whether that is in this cloud nation that we're all participating in online? More importantly, how do I create that in person, right? How do I create that with my more immediate surroundings, my immediate environment? And then keep scaling that down. How do I create that with my neighbors? How do I create that in everyday experiences at the grocery store? I was in conversation with one of my clients the other day, and one of the things was to stop ordering groceries in. I know that became a huge thing for a lot of people in the US. And it's literally, it's funny to say out loud, but it makes a big difference to have and create momentum to leave the home that was our safe haven for years, and to just break the barrier of that temporary bubble that we created. And remember that our bubble is actually bigger, and we can keep growing it bigger and bigger. And there's this like energetic exchange that is really important to human beings as social creatures, right? I mean, can we just take a moment and be in awe of human beings, social creatures, creative, resourceful beings? I don't have my book here. There's this book called The Runaway Species by David Eagleman and Anthony Brandt. And I was lucky enough to, there it is. It's underneath my computer. Anyways, it's about the creativity and innovative mind and spirit of the human beings, and how part of that is the social fabric of exchange of ideas and energy, right? And to me, like, that is part of the way the world has evolved, is our ability to be pro-social, right? For each other, by each other. Isn't that a 90s like t-shirt brand, FUBU, right? For us, by us. Anywho, so I'm gonna go in off the script. I never have a script, but what I want to offer, I think, here, because I'm curious if this is actually true, that this is a need right now, because I'm seeing people's responses with their faces lit up, and I've been invited to do talks specifically on social coaching. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that anymore, but it keeps coming up. I want to offer 5 free coaching spots for specifically for social coaching, whether that's in your personal or professional life, for 60 minutes. So that's 5 different people for 1 hour, as a testing ground, as a gift, as a just to see if 1, I still got it, and if 2, it's actually needed in the world, and if it is landing well with people. So maybe receiving some feedback, for being a participant in this. So if this is for you, please send me a message directly and like this, or if this is for someone else, feel free to share this with, a colleague, a neighbor, a lover, a friend, family member, whoever it is who might feel resonant with this offering. And I want to know, like, are you guys feeling like socially, like, not strangled, but just like imprisoned in a way? Like, do you feel like you want to break out and connect in ways that you haven't been able to the past 3 years? And it's not necessarily going back to how it was 3 years ago, because it's a different world, 1. And 2, you're a different person. And 3, like, our social fabric is very different these days too. So I want to know if that's something that you're experiencing right now, and whether you're an extrovert or introvert, like, if you want to connect in a deeper, more meaningful way, where you are showing up for people and people are showing up for you, whether it's in a moment, like a transactional moment, like, you're at the checkout counter, whether it's in your neighborhood, engaging with your neighbor or a community member, you go to a coffee shop and you see the same people there, or in your friendships, who you want to get closer to in your inner circle. Or it could be in your team, your remote team, or the team that you're meeting with daily to grow an idea, to grow a vision, to create together. It could be in a romantic relationship. You want to hear someone and offer someone space to be heard as well, so that the exchange keeps going. And again, it's not monologuing, it is dialoguing, right? How do we create dialogues where we're hearing and building on top of what we're hearing each other say, versus I'm building this, I'm building this. It may or may not be parallel, but it's not a co-creation. So again, it is going to be a gift to 5 beautiful souls as I'm really feeling into the aha moments that I've had in terms of, is this something that I'm able to, in integrity with my spirit and energy and who I am in this moment, is this something I'm able to offer and support others with in their journey? Is this something that the world needs? Is this something that people are willing and excited to learn about and to pay for, right? And so if you sign up, I will be so honored to retest this idea with you. These are skills that I have had. Oh my gosh, it's 2023, 23, right? 2011. Oh my God, this was like almost 20 years ago. Wait, am I doing the math right? 2008. No, it's like 15 years ago, something like that. So I might be a little rusty. So that's where y'all come in. We're going to help each other out. So yeah, a little note to leave you with in terms of how might you practice being social. And this moment is one of the key things that I shared as Wiser Socializer, which was the name of my old business, is this simple practice, right? So when we're feeling socially anxious, a lot of the times it is looking externally, like, what is this person thinking? What are they thinking about me? How are they assessing me? And the truth is, they're not really focused on you that much, right? So if you flip the switch and you're thinking, oh, like, how can I respond to them, be in service to them? It changes the dynamic because you get out of your head and you get into the moment and into the moment in connection to another human being. And it's beautiful to, one, activate that mindset. And what can help you is this 3-part process that I developed with Wiser Socializer. And one, it is to ask questions. So usually you want to do open-ended questions instead of a yes or no response. You want it to be like a few sentences if possible. So instead of like, oh, how's your day going? The response is good. When you get specific and you ask them a question about what you are recalling they might be interested in, or if it's someone new and you're in a shared environment, like, where did you come from before you arrived at the coffee shop? Or what are you here to do? Are you here to meet someone? Like, do you come here? How often do you come here? Those sound cheesy, but I swear it gets better than that. There's some examples. So the first one is ask questions. 2, make a connection. So when you ask a question and they respond, and you may notice a little spark, and it could be in their eyes or their body language brightens up, or you sense an energy shift in them that opens. You want to notice that, and notice that that is a connection that both you and the other person are making in that moment, right? And then the third is to go in that direction. So if you have found a point in which that person has responded and lit up, and you feel curiosity and interest around that, then you want to go in that direction, right? So you want to keep responding and playing conversational ping pong. When you ask a question and they respond, they may or may not ask you a question back, but you can respond to your own question if they don't ask a question back, to give more energy and flow, right? And it's been a miracle worker with all of my previous clients. And even now with my clients currently, that's something that I have shared with people, and it's opened them up in friendships. So that's opened them up to go deeper. It's opened them up at conferences, and it's opened them up personally to themselves too, right? It's like, oh, well, what am I interested in? What lights me up? What would I like to talk about? What kind of people would I like to meet, right? And so this has been something that I've been practicing myself, as well as I have been leaving my domain, my home on the daily to flex that social muscle as best as I can. And now I hope you'll be able to do that too. So again, if this is of interest to you, for the 5 free slots, hit me up. I am going to be offering this, and then I want to do the coaching before the end of this year. So this is a holiday present to you or someone you know, and this will be a great way to prep you for the holidays and or the new year. All right. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope that you receive something valuable and that you can practice the 3-part process of ask questions, make a connection, and go in that direction. All righty. Until next time, I am sending you a lots of love. I'm going to do reviving of the wiser socializer. Until soon.